All right, let's get right to it.
Episode 9, KT Confidential.
So today I want to talk about some controversial things that I got into discussion with some of my clients, some friends, some family members lately, and that's child safety and child safety within the home.
Right.
This is something that both you and I deal with on a regular basis.
We've both been through the process of childproofing our properties.
No, let me interrupt you there for a second because I am in the continual process and I'm going to have to do it again at the cottage for this summer. So for those of you that don't know, I have twin boys. They're almost 20 months old, Judah and Jonah. And Adrian has a 4-year-old.
4.5-year-old and a 1.5-year-old.
Yes, Tessa.
Both girls,
and
Tessa and McKenna.
So 2 girls, 2 boys, 2 fairly large homes, and lots of shit all over the house for them to open, destroy, hurt themselves with, etc. What extent did you go through it? Like, so
I'm not. I don't know. I don't like to do a lot of it. I mean, we did some basic stuff. Okay, so the typical things, we've got gates at the top and bottom.
Did you install the gates yourself?
I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you sourced the gates?
Bought the gates from wherever and then installed them.
Did you have to do any modifications to them or?
Minor. Like I mounted them on wood frames, but that was it.
How did you secure it to the posts?
I just screwed right in.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Well, I think it was 1 or 2 screw holes. Not a big deal.
So once they come down, or if you sell, you're just going to fill it with some like wood filler and then...
Yeah, put some wood filler in there, mix a bit of stain, touch it up. You should have seen what I did in the old house. You may have seen actually when I had Carter, our German Shepherd, as a puppy. You know, like the nosing around the stairs. So on the side of the stairs that was open to the hallway, he chewed the entire nosing off.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so I imagine it's not the way that a proper carpenter would do it, but I slowly added wood filler, and I kept building it up and up and up, and then I sanded it all down to the same shape as the other nosing, and I stained it. I swear to God, you couldn't notice the difference. Like,
Yeah.
I was so proud of
Except
myself.
the new owners, when they stepped on
If
that
they
particular
touched it,
corner.
it fell right off.
That's funny.
Yeah, but as far as gates, so we have gates at the top of all our stairs. So the basement, we have a gate there, and then the main set of stairs going upstairs, top and bottom. Aside from that, just some basic childproof locks on some cupboard doors and drawers in the kitchen and bathrooms.
Did you go with the magnetic ones that you have the magnetic key?
No, just the cheap, basic little plastic ones that catch.
You stick your finger in and then, yeah. Do you find the kids ever slam their fingers or get their fingers caught when they open it and there's that gap?
No, and I don't care anyways.
Right. They do it once and they learn their
that's
lesson.
just how I am. Like, let them get hurt. It doesn't bother me.
See, that's that's some of the controversy behind what I was talking about with some of my family members, is that the old school mentality was very much let them get hurt, they'll learn their lesson.
Yeah.
Like we had, I don't know how many people now, 14, 15 people over at Christmas time, and nobody could open anything because everything is like on serious lockdown. Doors to the bathroom, all the cabinet doors, drawers, whatever. And everybody was like, what the fuck? Like, when you were kids, we didn't have any of this. And look, you turned out okay. And that seems to be the mentality of a lot of, older people. But, yeah, we've got everything on lockdown. So I hired Ken McPhee. He's a local guy that's a certified, trained. He specializes in child safety, childproofing. Yeah. We've used them for clients when they want to secure their pool. For gates and things like that.
I've used them for that.
And then he custom fabricated the gates in the home. So we have one that extends from the stairs to a wall, which is about 7 feet long. So the kids can't get into the front foyer as well. And then one at the top of the stairs. And he rigged it very, very nicely, and it looks spot on.
It's also good for having designated play areas.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. If you
Keep all
want to
their
block
toys
them off.
confined to an area.
Yeah. And then I had him, just because I didn't have the time or patience, install all of the locks in the kitchen, which are the magnetic ones. I quite like those because they're clean. The kids can't open the doors or drawers at all. The challenge is always finding one of the magnetic keys. So if you're cooking, it is a serious pain in the ass, like to the point where I thought of taping one to a finger. Just to have it.
Is it just a magnet though?
It is. Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, but like when you're
Like if you lose one, you might be able to find something else that could work.
well, you just get another magnet. Yeah,
But if you can't find it, you're screwed.
potentially.
Okay.
Yeah, or you go to the hardware store.
Right. But to open if you've got a meal ready and you need a fork and you
Right.
can't find it, you have to go to the hardware store.
Well, that's why we have 3 of them. So one's
Okay.
tucked away for an
Okay.
emergency basis.
In a drawer?
Yeah, one of the locking drawers. Yeah. And then recently I added the I can't remember the brand, but they are locks designed to stop the lever from going down. So, little funny story. Literally the day after I installed them, Natalie sends me a text message. Before I was still at the office, and she sends me a text message. Don't be upset about the hole in the door. And I said, okay, whatever, I'll deal with it when I come home. I came home, and literally the powder room door had a hole that looked like her foot, and it went. She kicked the door down, because what happened was, I guess she didn't realize, and I didn't think about it in the beginning either, and there was no mention of that in the instructions, but the part of this child lock has to be fully disengaged. If it's anything but, all you need to do is lift it from the bottom and it engages it. So I guess when she opened it, it wasn't fully disengaged, and Jonah went up to it and he lifted it up and locked her in the bathroom. And we must have been with a client or shooting a video or something. She texted me, and I didn't respond in the 10 minutes that she had already basically broken the door down. And this is
So she was in the washroom. The boys were outside.
The boys were outside.
Getting into trouble.
And they locked her in. Within seconds of her being in there, they locked her in there. And when they did that, they started freaking out because they knew that they did something wrong. And she was freaking out because she couldn't get to them. And so literally, Natalie's 5 feet tall, 90 pounds. She put her back up against the wall and literally just like karate chopped the door down. And this is a 9-foot door, which is, my doors, they're custom style. And I can't find them. And the closest comparable is $350 unpainted. So now I'm going to spend probably $400 to $500 to replace the door, and it might not even be the same style.
Yeah.
So
So the ones we have on the lever handles, there's a couple doors we have it like to the walk-in closet, because that's where we keep some of the medicine and stuff. They are you have to actually push it in, slide it over to prevent the handle from moving. So it's not
okay.
You couldn't really accidentally do it. I can't remember which client it was of ours. Maybe Danielle or Krista or somebody, and they got locked out. Similar story. They got locked out of the house though.
Oh yeah, Danielle.
And she kicked the front door in.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, and since they've
That
actually
must take
done a renovation and replaced that door, the second replacement.
You must have to put a lot of strength into kicking a front door down. That's impressive.
Yeah, you must.
Kudos, Danielle.
Yeah.
Good job.
What she didn't tell us is she left a pot of bolognese on the stove, so
Oh,
if she didn't get in there in time, the house would probably burn down.
and dinner would be ruined.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
But aside from that, I haven't done much in my house. There's I'll go into clients' houses where every sharp edge of a table has foam on it, and every corner of a wall has foam on it because they don't want their kids bumping into the stuff. My coffee table is one of those industrial carts, and I joke around all the time saying, so on the corners of that cart, which is all wood,
Steel.
there's big steel brackets So I always joke around and say, yeah, we put these on the corners to make sure they didn't hurt themselves on the wood.
Yeah.
And then the wheels, where the axles are, there's these big bolts coming out. So, I don't know, that stuff doesn't really bother me. I don't know. We haven't had any problems. I'm sure the kids have hit themselves on it once or twice, but I feel like it helps them be more aware of their surroundings and figure it out.
I'm really curious to know how many. I mean, we're in and out of tons of homes all the time, but we never really get the sense of what people deal with when it comes to childproofing. Quite frankly, I am scared shitless for trying to childproof the cottage because there are so many areas where they can injure themselves.
Yeah.
It's going to be...
Well, and that's another thing. Like, if you are, like, overly cautious at home, what happens when you leave the house?
Right.
Like,
Go
your,
to a friend's
your
or
friends'
family.
houses aren't going to be the same way.
Right.
Public places aren't going to be the same way. You are going to be so on edge trying to protect your kids everywhere else that it's just ridiculous. You want to be able to enjoy yourself, and your kids won't know what is appropriate to do and what isn't appropriate to do.
We should have brought Natalie and Alicia in for this episode because I bet you they have differing opinions.
I don't know. I mean, we've had, I won't say any names, but we've had people over to the house with kids.
Call them out. Call them out right now.
Not a chance. Not a chance. And some of these fucking kids.
You only have 6 friends, so
just
it's not that hard to figure out.
Out of control. Like, they just do whatever they want, and the parents don't stop them. And that's the difference, is like, you know, it takes a bit more effort in the beginning, but if you're on top of them and you tell them what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, and you know, give them a bit of guidance, after they're smart learner, you know, they learn fast, they're smart kids, they will stop doing the things they're not supposed to do. But if you don't...
But that all goes back to how you bring them up.
Yes.
Like, if you let your kids get away with shit, they're going to continue to get away with it.
Of course.
How many times that we've held an open house or taken clients out for showings and the kids are all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, have some respect, right? Like, teach your kid to have respect for other people's stuff. And
Yeah.
I want to know who these people are. Who are they?
I'll tell you after.
Okay. I'll tag them in the post then for you.
All right, you do that. I'll be spending a lot more time out of the house.
Now, you have a hot tub. Do you do anything to child-proof the hot tub? Is there a lock on your cover or anything?
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't be able to lift the cover up anyways.
Yet.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. Like, even, you know, I struggle occasionally. So I'm not concerned. But yes, it does have those little buckle clips. So I always have at least one of those in. But it doesn't really bother me. But a pool would, for sure. If you have a pool, you have to definitely put a gate up around it. And there's a lot of great options that look nice. You don't need to get those permanent big iron gates. There's, I can't remember, what's his name?
Ken.
He did one for a client of mine.
Bullseye safety.
Yeah, so it was, it's almost like a retractable fence. And you can get gates installed, and then if you're having a big party and you're not concerned because everybody's out there to supervise, you can just roll the whole thing up and put it away. So that's really important. But the hot tub, not so much. They have to climb up to it. They have to lift a, 100-pound cover or whatever. So it's not such a concern.
Is there anything else that now with technology, this is, I think the child safety products that are on the market are going to change substantially over the next few years. I don't know what's coming down the line. Have you seen anything from a tech standpoint that parents might want to invest in? Like cameras are the obvious.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, for kids specifically?
Yeah, child safety in general.
I can see people putting like GPS stuff in shoes and watches and things like that.
Oh, bro, I am going to literally embed some kind of GPS device in my children's head, neck, arm, somewhere where they cannot remove it. I don't know if there is a doctor that's doing this kind of procedure right now, but the best thing I ever bought Natalie was the little tile You ever seen the tiles where you click on it and it rings your phone so you can find your phone, or vice versa? You activate it on your phone so you can find your keys. I am going to install one in my children somehow, some way.
So any hardcore Christians listening to this are probably freaking out right now, because that, I think in like Revelations or something, I don't know exactly, but like the sign of the beast, it talks about embedding things into people. So
well, it's going to happen, so they better start dealing with it now and hold their peace to it.
Yeah, well, I was speaking with someone recently who won't get a Nexus card because of retinal scan, and that's something biblical too.
Well, and they say Jewish people can't get tattoos. Not that I have a tattoo yet, but if you're tattooed, you can't be buried in a Jewish plot.
Right. We should go get tattoos together. Maybe a KT square.
Yes.
Yeah.
On my ass.
Yeah, but I think GPS things are great. So Alicia and I and some of my family members all have access to see where we all are at any given time.
Find my friends.
I think it's great. Like, some people think it's creepy, but I don't care where they are 99% of the time. But if I'm planning a trip,
is that why you deleted me from it? Because you didn't want me to see where you were?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I didn't even know I had you on there. Did I? You probably didn't give me access. So if someone doesn't allow me to see them,
right,
you're not going to see where I am either. That's not right.
Right.
But
that would be just creepy.
Yeah.
I know where you are anyway.
Yeah, but I think
you live next door.
I think if I'm not there, I'm here. I think it's a great feature.
Yeah.
I don't know that it needs to be embedded into your skin, but I think, for a certain degree, maybe it is a good idea to have it on kids.
At what age do you think it's appropriate for, like, so Tessa's 4.5. At what age will you, because you will, what age will you get her a cell phone?
I knew that was coming. I don't know. That's a good question. I haven't really thought about it.
Because she's in school now.
Yeah. Like a full-blown cell phone?
No, half a fucking cell phone.
Well, I'm thinking like they probably make things where...
Give her one without a battery, see how that works.
There's probably things where they can communicate with one person, right? Where like I have a direct link to her via her fancy iWatch or other company equivalent, versus a full-blown cell phone that she has, can browse the web and call whoever she wants and that sort of thing. That's what I mean.
Well, there are parental and restrictions you can set on, like your iPhone. Your iPhone has restrictions, or you just don't install the app and don't give her access to iTunes.
Honestly, I wouldn't be afraid of giving one to her now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're growing up in the day and age.
Well, being afraid of it and actually doing it are two different things.
Yeah, it doesn't scare me. I think, if she asked for one, which obviously she's 4, she's not going to ask for one. But, if we felt...
Tessa, if you're watching this, ask your dad for an iPhone.
I would give one to her anytime, obviously putting restrictions on things that she could do, like browsing and stuff like that. But she'll call me from it now. Like, she knows how to unlock her, Alicia's phone and dial me. And even if it's locked, she knows that she can access the SOS feature, and I'm the emergency contact. And she'll call me and FaceTime me all the time. I think it's really fun. But that's what they're growing up in the day and age of technology. They're surrounded by it, so why not immerse them in it?
A lot of schools now are teaching children in an elementary school with iPads, right? So I think the faster, in my opinion, the faster that you get your children acclimated to the electronic and tech world, the more advanced that they'll become. So, forget about the old school ways of doing things. It's gone. It's in the past. And so we're going through this whole calendar debate now in our house with myself and with Natalie, and trying to get in sync with who's going to be where at what times. And I started looking at different apps, and I was surprised. There are a lot of apps out there right now. I don't know the names of them off the top of my head, but they are calendars designed to keep your family in sync. So you're sharing. So if you have 2 kids, they each have a phone. You got 4 phones, let's say, in the family. It's sharing all of that calendar, but also your location. so you can see where everybody is, your to-do list for the day, what's for dinner. Like, it's this whole family tracking app, and I think it's pretty cool. I'm going to look into it a little bit more.
But even
if anybody has any of these apps and they want to share their pros and cons behind them, I'd love to hear that, because I think I will invest in one.
Yeah, I can see the value in it, but at the same time, all the native apps to the iPhone or Android, I'm sure, has the equivalent, like the to-do lists and the notes and the calendars and contacts, etc. You can create shared stuff there.
But this encompasses it all in that app,
right?
And everybody is sharing it, seeing it, and you don't have to, exit out of one app to go into another. It's all just there.
Right.
It's kind of neat.
Yeah. And going back to computers and phones and iPads and stuff, do you let your kids watch iPads?
They're not at the point yet where they are. They're not there yet. So for Christmas / Hanukkah, we Natalie and I got them Leap pads. Have you seen the Leap pads?
Tessa has one.
That thing is indestructible. First of all, an iPad wouldn't last 2 days with the boys. It would get destroyed. But the Leap pad really takes a shit kicking, and it's held up pretty good.
Yeah.
But they're not at the point that they know what's happening with it, right? Like, they'll sit and watch a video on it or listen to some music on it. They're not really interacting. I caught Natalie playing one of the games on it, so I think at this point maybe we're using it more than they are. Yeah. Really cool. I think they're going to enjoy it. I do, and I will want to get them integrated into an iPad, iPhone, and slowly teach them, because I think it's important for kids. At the same time, I will be a little bit old school. I think it's important for kids to know how to write letters, scriptive writing.
I don't think they even teach that
They
anymore.
don't. And I think, some of that, putting that pen to paper.
But think about that. Does it really matter? Like calligraphy. There was that transition at some point where somebody was having the same conversation and saying, "Oh, I'm going to teach my kids how to write calligraphy because that's how it should be done." And
my best goals that I've ever made for myself, or when I really get into deep thought, which doesn't happen as much anymore, because that's when, like, I was on vacation and maybe a few mojitos in, and I literally took out my fountain pen on blank paper and just started writing. There's something, to me anyways, I don't know if anybody else feels that way, or
like
if you
cursive?
feel that way. Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Like intentionally cursive writing?
Yes.
Okay.
Slowly, just,
Why?
slowly and nice. To me, there's something beautiful about putting your thoughts.
Not mine. Mine's messy as shit.
On paper. Whether it's messy or not, there's something about that pen to paper.
But just writing.
That mentality, that, I don't know, something just happens in my brain where when I literally, and physically have a pen to paper, it's more impactful. Maybe because I write so many emails and text messages every day, and, it's that whole electronic disconnect, that there's something just natural and something that connects you from that pen to paper. I bet you there are a lot of motivational speakers or people that think about their goals, future, forecasts, things like that still believe that way. I always have my notepad. You have your
so do
notepad
I.
all
It's
the
full.
time. It's full. So, why aren't those notes in your phone or in your
I
laptop?
agree. Writing down my thoughts, I like to do it in pen, but nothing to do with printing versus cursive.
Right.
That to me doesn't matter. I never do cursive. Don't like it. Never did. Don't see a need for it. And another generation from now, people probably have feel the same way about just typing out their notes in a serif versus sans serif font. They'll be like, "Oh yes, when I write in sans serif, I feel more.
If you think the next generation is even going to type, you are
That's
out of
true.
your mind. Like,
Actually, I was sending text messages and I think emails too yesterday, and I was dictating it, and I heard Cameron in the other room kept laughing at me. But I was typing and working and dictating stuff at the same time. So I was multitasking.
we will live in a world 50 years from now where literally you'll be sitting in the back seat of a car that's driving itself, and you will just think about what the fuck you want to say, and it'll end up in an email.
100%. I think about that all the time because my father-in-law can't speak. So I was thinking there's got to be some. I've seen things. They're just not like actually mass produced, but there's where they hook up electrodes to your mind and you program it. So when you think a certain thing, it detects the pattern of whatever, and it outputs that to a computer, which can control machines and do many things, write, dictate, whatever. So that will be for sure 100%.
Well, if they can translate, if technology can translate a dog's bark into what it's actually saying, which that technology exists.
No.
You haven't seen that before?
You're probably watching A Dog's Life. That does not exist.
What's A Dog's Life? Is that a movie?
Yes, it's a movie.
No, it exists.
You've
I
been
am
watching.
Gonna find it.
No, that you've been reading the National Enquirer or something. That does
No,
not
no,
exist.
no,
People cannot determine what dogs are.
Whether or not it's legit, you'll never know. But the technology is there. That I don't know if it's something that's embedded or they wear or whatever, or it's just a device that I'm going to find it and I'm going to prove you wrong.
All right.
I doubt anybody listening actually has it because apparently it doesn't exist, but no, it exists.
That's so funny.
You wanted to show me a video of something, something to do with child safety.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the news, but speaking of child safety, recently a woman, I don't know where it was, I think Cameron said in Wisconsin? Minnesota. In Minnesota. A woman was driving her car.
You ever been to Minnesota?
No, I haven't.
That's a boring place. Don't ever go.
And I think there's some dumb people there because this woman was driving.
Let's hope nobody from
the guy
Minnesota's
behind
listening.
Had a dash cam, so recorded the whole thing.
Your city's boring as hell, and you're dumb as shit.
And she was taking a corner, just turning right, and the driver's side rear door opens, and the car seat with a 2-year-old falls out of the car onto the road. Kid strapped in. The car keeps driving.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'll show you.
How does the car seat fall out?
Well, the kid was at least strapped in, but the car seat wasn't. Like how? And how do you keep driving? Oh, hang on. Let me just take the next right, and I'll come back around. I'll do a U-turn at that intersection up there to come back and pick up my kid.
Keep your eye on that gray car up ahead. You won't believe what happens
right here.
when it takes a corner. A car seat falls out with a 2-year-old child.
Look, she stops. This isn't a good spot to turn around, so I'm gonna keep going.
What the fuck?
Look at this. There she goes. She's like, oh no, there's cars in the way. I'm gonna go up here and turn around.
Oh my God.
Then he stoops down to tend to the child and check if she is okay. As concerned drivers gather round, the trucker cradles the car seat and tells them what just happened. Finally, he carries the child to safety.
Where's the woman?
I spoke to the truck driver, Chad Mock. You walk up to this toddler and what do you see?
Anyways. Can you believe that?
Like, how stupid are you?
Like, how do you not know, one, your rear door just opened and closed?
How did the rear door open?
Well, I suppose if they didn't have the safety lock, the kid could have done it.
Can you play it again?
The door opened and closed.
You won't believe what happened.
It's a Honda Civic.
A car seat falls out.
So she slows down. She's like, no, everything's good. I'm going to keep going.
Oh, door's open. Let's keep driving.
The video was shot by a truck driver right behind. He stops, runs out of his cab, and waves down traffic as the gray car disappears into the distance.
I bet you this dumbass is going to sue Honda, too.
You know what I think? It was intentional.
She's trying to dump her kid in the middle of the road.
Absolutely. She's trying to dump her kid.
Did she come back?
They
'Cause it
said she
didn't-
did eventually.
Eventually.
But you,
Stopped for a burger?
yeah. Oh, I messed that up. But yeah, unbelievable. One, there's no way in hell you don't know the door opened. Two, there's no way in hell you don't realize your 2-year-old daughter just flew out of the car, and then somehow the door just closed again. Like, I think she stopped. She probably wrote, "Oh, the door's open." So she reached back, closed the door, and kept going. And then she got to her destination and realized, "Oh, where's little Susie?" And she drove around looking for her. Unbelievable. So I'm guessing their house isn't very well childproofed.
Probably not. And on that note, thanks for tuning in to episode 9.